Hey guys, and welcome to my Elite Dungeons 1 token farming guide. So when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. As not to confuse anyone, this is a Elite Dungeons 1 token farming guide, aka farming the mini bosses on the first floor. With that being said, here are the requirements. I recommend you have 43 plus prayer for all the protection prayers and 70 plus combat stats. Another requirement is the Impressing the Locals mini quest, which gives you access to the Ark, and it pretty much has no requirements. Now, the higher stats you have in combat the better, but if you're soloing this as an Iron Man, I'm sure you can still get 20 to 30,000 Dungeoneering tokens per hour. If you're soloing this at high combat stats, you can easily get 80,000 Dungeoneering tokens per hour. And if you're doing this in a group of 2, with 2 high level players, or 3, or 2 with 1 leech, you can easily get over 100,000 Dungeoneering tokens per hour. And this can also be great combat experience per hour, ranging up to 1 million plus XP per hour with a good group at high combat stats. Lower stats or Iron Man players or solo players will of course get less. Now you can do Elite Dungeons 1 token farming pretty much with any style. Magic and ranged, with mechanized chinchompas being the best. Magic being the best because of the corruption blast ability that does a lot of AoE damage, and just overall, magic is very easy to use here, and so is ranged if you have the mechanized chins. You can also do it with normal chinchompas and offhand, and it will do just fine, however it will be slower. So you're better off taking magic if you don't have mechanized chinchompas. Now as for the melee setup, it is possible with melee. I've done it myself, I've tanked in groups, but you do take a lot of damage. However, with AoE abilities using a Scythe or Dragon Rider Lance or Masuda's War Spear, you can also dish out a lot of damage. Now, I'm 100% aware that a lot of people watching this video will not have Masterwork Armor from melee, an Amulet of Souls and Soul Split, and Cinderbanes as your gloves because poison damage is very useful and best in slot here, and a lot of the other stuff like a Ring of Death, or a Tier 1 Quiver, or Scrimshaws and Auras, and you don't need all of this stuff. These are the high level setups. Just take the best gear you have. I'm going to give you guys some mid-level examples on screen now. Now yes, I am aware that the melee setup has a higher tier weapon than the magic range setup, and I did this on purpose. Literally just bring the best armor you have and the best weapon you have as a mid-level player. Now even as a high-level player, I would almost recommend bringing non-augmented, non-degradable armor like Anima Core, or tier 70 power armor like Subjugation, Armadillo or Bandos. Because you're going to be saving money on divine charge costs because you don't really need your invention perks here. Yeah, no one heard that right. Anyways, what I was saying is, as a mid-level player, you're going to struggle here no matter what. Even as a high-level player with high-tier gear, you're going to struggle if you're doing this solo. So again, I'm going to recommend you do this in a group of 2 or 3 because it's going to make it so much easier. Ask your high-level friends or clanmates to join in with you. As for your inventory, just bring along what you have: Weapon Poison ++, stat boosting potions, prayer potions or super restores, Enhanced Excalibur to save food, a Ring of Vigor if you want to use switches, and Brews for tick eating if you want to survive easier. Really simple. So before I explain how it actually works, I'm going to be showing you guys how to get there quite easily. The easiest way to get there is actually by making a group. In the group system, you want to go to the Temple of Amanishi, aka Elite Dungeons 1, and select it and set your group to that boss, or Elite Dungeon. You then ready up, and whenever everybody's ready, you can actually go ahead and teleport straight there. And there you are. Now if you die mid-Elite Dungeon and you have a group of 2 or 3 people, you can easily get back with teleporting, or go to this NPC in Port Sarim, choose the travel option and go to the Amanishi Island. Then just follow the video as seen to the entrance of Elite Dungeons 1 and join in with your group again. Now 2 more things before we start getting into the actual layout of the floor and the mini-boss spawns and all that. Always kill the healers inside Elite Dungeons 1. These will heal the mini-bosses and they are very annoying. These are the guys with the antlers on top of their helmets. Just kill them first and you'll be done with them. One more thing, if you're outside, toggle the chest to auto loot your drops because then you'll not miss out on some relics and stuff which you can disassemble for invention components, and maybe the occasional drops like coins and stuff, or if you're using drop enhancers, some money making. You're now looking at an overview of the inside of the first floor. In this floor you're going to be finding the mini-bosses. There are actually 5 spawn locations for these mini-bosses. You have a RNG chance, or a random chance, of getting a few of these mini-bosses, with the max being 3, I believe. I've never actually seen 4 or 5 spawn. It's usually 1, 2, and if you're lucky, 3 mini-bosses, and you want to go inside the dungeon to clear it if you have a double or triple spawn. If you're doing it with a trio, I recommend only going for the triple spawns, because you're going to be clearing the dungeon just so much faster. The map, when you center your compass north, is on screen now. As you guys can see, there's the entrance, the barriers, and the 5 mini-boss spawns. To clarify where the bosses spawn, I'll show you it on my own overview. They spawn here, 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 and there. Now, the mini-bosses can use thresholds and abilities and such, and mainly as a mid-level player, I'd recommend you just pray against the certain style they're using. So if they're using a melee weapon, pray melee. If they're using magic, use magic. And so on. It's really easy. If you're a high level player, you can pretty much soul split through everything. Except for maybe the mage in the top left corner, which is quite tough, especially when he uses his ultimate ability. Now inside the actual dungeon, there's barriers, and to open up these barriers, you have to kill a bunch of trash mobs. Now these trash mobs can hit really hard, especially if you're not a high level player. They do a lot of damage. If you're a high level player, you can soul split through most of it. If you're a mid level player, you're gonna have a hard time. That's why I again recommend to do this in a group of 2 or 3. Now I'm going to be showing you guys how you actually scout for certain mini boss spawns, and then which route you should take and what safe spots you should use for each of the spawns to get through the dungeon as fast and as easy as possible. So once your group is readied up and such, you want to go and teleport to the dungeon and then go inside and choose normal mode at all times. If there's not a double spawn or triple spawn of the mini bosses, which you can see in your minimap if you enlarge it like I did, pretty much making it massive and taking up a part of your screen, you can easily spot how many mini bosses have spawned. If you don't get a good spawn, you want to left click and leave the dungeon, then when going back in you want to choose a different instance. You do this by choosing no on the first option and then choosing normal mode again to respawn a fresh instance of floor 1. Make sure that the group leader is the only one doing this, because if there's someone else in the dungeon you can't actually reset the instance. Once you've found a double or triple spawn, you call in your other teammates or group mates. So then you find a good double or triple spawn, which usually won't take that many tries at all. Then you start killing the trash mobs, but then there's 2 barriers at the first section. It depends entirely on the mini-boss spawns on which direction you're going, either left or right, also known as south or north if you actually put your compass to the north. So I'm going to be showing you guys some scenarios of different mini-boss spawns and then showing you which side you should take with which spawn. This is the first example. If you have a triple spawn like this, take the right side or south side. Here's another example of when you want to take the south side. And here are 3 examples of when you would want to take the left side or north side instead. Pretty much the majority of the time. I also have one example where you actually have a spawn to the left or to the north and to the south. That's when you take the left side and then go over the bridge afterwards, clear the first entrance and then get to the chef boss, aka the one on the south or right side. Now when using the south side or right side, you want to hug the wall all the way up till the end, because this way you'll actually save yourself some food and the annoyance of aggroing extra enemies. However, if someone in your group just stands a little bit too much to the left, you will aggro them anyways, and well, you'll just have to kill them as well. So as you guys can see, we actually have a double mini-boss spawn being Ahutu the Chef and Olivia the Chronicler, which is a spawn you would want to take the south or right side with. Now actually, after clearing the first barrier, that barrier will actually open up. However, if you want to be more efficient, you can go north first with this exact spawn and clear those mobs as well. What you can do then, if you're careful, is actually lure the second mini-boss, Olivia, towards you, and then what you can do is stack both of them on top of each other so that you can actually do more damage and kill them both faster. Watch out that you don't actually aggro that group a little bit to the north, because that's a large group of enemies you don't want to aggro or kill if you don't have a mini-boss located there. If this is your run complete, you go outside and repeat the process of finding a group of 2 mini-bosses or 3, and then repeating the process. Now if you have something like this, you take the right side again, the south side. But once you get to that second mini-boss in the middle, you actually have to lure him without luring the other minions or trash mobs, which is quite difficult. This is extremely difficult with melee because you can't actually target him from a distance, but if you hug the wall and slowly walk one tile forwards, you can actually aggro him without aggroing that group over there. As you guys can see, I actually messed up in this clip here using melee and trying it out and stuff. And I actually lured some of that group over towards me, but yeah, I don't really mind, it's just extra experience. Excuse my weird switching as well from Dorigo Maces back to my Noxious Scythe. I was just trying out some stuff. But yeah, you just lure him towards that corner and you're safe spotted from most of the enemies and you just AoE them down to kill them all. So here's an example of all of the bosses being on the left side or northern side of the room. Now the boss that spawns over here, if you're going through the northern or left side, can actually be aggroed towards you and lured backwards, meaning you can single him out and kill him quite easily. Then, once you've killed this boss, you would want to kill the boss inside the church, or kill the minions in the church and then kill both of those mini bosses together. And then finally killing the last one on its own. Now inside the church are a ton of trash mobs and they will absolutely destroy you as a mid-level player or if you're standing in the middle. You can tank them with Soul Split and a Scythe and stuff, but you're better off using a safe spot in between the benches. If you do this, they will stack on top of each other and you can easily AoE them down using ranged or magic. The actual mini-boss behind the altar won't aggro you until you actually walk around the altar or whatever it is and actually make him aggressive towards you. So you can easily just kill the mobs first, including the healers of course. Never forget to kill the healers because they will heal the boss, aka the guys with the antlers. So once you've killed those other two mini-bosses, you want to safe spot this entire group of trash mobs. You can do this at two locations, either this spot or this spot, or you can just AoE them down in the middle of the room. It doesn't really matter if you're a high level player, but this way you can save food on trips. Then once you've killed those mobs, you actually want to go ahead and pray magic against this boss if you're a low level player and start killing the little mini boss. And with that being said, I think you guys now have enough knowledge to do this for yourself with your clanmates or friends and get those juicy dungeoneering token gains and experience gains of course. I also want to give a quick shout out to Plebshot, Cooleen and of course Maka finally getting that shout out, which is kind of a little meme within my community, my Discord server, for strolling along and farming elite dungeons with me to obtain tokens, and I finally got my advanced gold accumulator myself to add to my tool belt to never ever pick up coins again, costing 1500k dungeoneering tokens. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed and found this video helpful. If you did, leave a like down below and maybe even consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.